Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be dialing in from around the world. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Caroline Chapin, Channel Marketing at Autotask, and I will be your host for today's webinar. Really happy to be here. We have a great agenda for you today, and I'm really excited about our two presenters. We have Raj Kira, CEO from MailerMailer, and our very own Len DiCostanzo, SVP of Channel Development, who I know many of you know already. But before we get started, I do just have a quick couple of housekeeping items to review with you all. First, we are hosting in Cisco WebEx, so if you're having any technical issues, please notify me, the marketing host, via the chat function in WebEx, and I will try to get someone to help you out as soon as possible. I like to remind people that all of the phone lines will be muted. This will help minimize any background noise. However, this doesn't mean that we don't like questions. So via the Q&A function, feel free to submit questions throughout the duration of the event, and we'll save a few minutes at the end to take those questions. Next, I'd just like to let you know that there will be a short post-webinar survey that will pop up in a separate window at the end of the event. So I'm hoping you'll take just a couple of moments to answer these questions. It does help us develop content for future webinars like this one. So your feedback is greatly appreciated. And next, I'd like to let our audience know in advance that this webinar is being recorded and will be made available to you via email and also on our site within 3 business days after the event. This way you can access it at any time. You can refresh some of the content. It'll be a good way to go back and just revisit what was presented. So now let's get started with why we're all here today. We're just about 6 weeks left in the year, which I can't believe that the time is going so quickly. This is the perfect time to begin the planning process for your 2017 marketing roadmap. This will help you drive leads and win new business. So with that, I'm very pleased to introduce our first presenter, Raj Kira, CEO of MailerMailer, who's not only a presenter today, but also a sponsor for today's webinar. So thank you for that, Raj. MailerMailer is an award-winning email marketing services and marketing automation company who provides creative solutions to help companies like all of you out there in the audience to help you drive leads and grow your business. So thank you, Raj, again for sponsoring, and we're really excited to have you here. With that, I will hand it off to you to get things started today.
Well, thank you very much, Caroline. So I am now going to flip over to our first slide, and let's go ahead and get going with this. So thanks again, everybody, for joining. I am broadcasting to you live from just outside of Washington, D.C. here. And so let's talk about how to get your company growing a bit more for 2017. Well, this is how most MSPs grow. They wait for clients to show up, also known as word-of-mouth marketing or waiting for referrals. Now, word-of-mouth is unfortunately not a scalable marketing strategy. It doesn't really lead to predictable growth. So if this is you, you're going to find this webinar very useful. Today, we're going to learn how to get your business to a higher level than you're at right now. And there's 3 key areas that I'm going to cover. And the first is planning and preparation. Things that you can do right now to plan for 2017. And then I'll go over some specific components of an effective marketing plan. These are the things that you would actually do, things that should be on your radar. And then we're going to close out with an actual marketing plan that you can implement. Just a little background on MailerMailer. One of our flagship products is called Prestacular. We provide a full suite of IT marketing content for your website, for your newsletters and your blogs. It's like having an experienced marketing person on your team without the high cost and the overhead. Stay tuned to the end of the webinar because the bonus for attending today is a complete month-by-month checklist of things that you can do that will generate qualified leads. So let's start here. How big is your target? Now, I'm not talking about the size of your target market. I'd like you to think about how much you want to grow in 2017. Are you looking for 1 new client, 2, or are you looking for 10 clients or 12 ones or more? You need to have a monthly quota to reach your targets because otherwise you've got this random fuzzy concept of growth but nothing really that's concrete. Now, if you're not sure how to calculate what your quota should be, or how many new clients you want, or how many you can actually handle, which is really the reason I posed the question, here's how to figure it out. let's say that on average, every new client that you get is worth $500 a month. Now, yours may be more. I know a lot of MSPs whose average client's $2,000 a month or more. So let's just go back to 500. So at $500 a month, that means 12 times 500, you're looking at about $6,000 per year. And let's say you have a 3-year contract. Well, that would mean that an average client could be worth, if they renew the contract just once, $36,000, right? So that's a lot of money. It's simple math. You can calculate that out based on what your numbers are. So when you do this fairly simple exercise, you start to think realistically about how many clients you actually want to add, how you can figure out what your quota should be. So if you have 3 new clients, that's almost $100,000 or a little more than $100,000 in customer lifetime value. If your average customer spend is double that, $500, so if it's $1,000 a month, that number now goes to $200,000 and more just for adding 3 new clients. If you add 10 new clients, that's almost $750,000 to take home for your business. That's some pretty serious cash. So you first have to decide how many new clients that you can actually ramp up without degrading the quality of work as you hire more staff. When you use these numbers, you can backtrack your way into calculating what your monthly quota would be. You'll have a target. 1 new client every 2 months or 1 every 3 weeks. You're going to know what you need to find. Once you know that, you can start to adjust your marketing and your sales efforts based on those numbers. Now, this kind of growth typically won't happen by itself. Again, word of mouth, not a growable, scalable strategy. If you want predictability in your growth, you have to have a plan. It doesn't have to be complicated. I personally like using checklists because they make life so much easier. It's like when you set up a new customer, you've probably got a checklist of onboarding tasks that you have for a brand new client. Same thing here. So the process starts with planning. Most people want to just dive in and start fishing for leads. Don't fall into that trap. Start with one of the most overlooked steps in marketing, in finding leads, and that is defining who they are. So this sounds fairly simple, but most people don't do this, and as a result, they waste a lot of money and a lot of time. You need to have a written, detailed profile of your target market, and in marketing circles, that's known as a buyer persona. So pay attention to this because your entire marketing plan, which is all of the action items that you can have for 2017, are going to fall into place right from this client profile. It's a very magical thing when you see it happen. I'll show you how this unfolds in a second. Now, the high-level questions that you should ask yourself are, who buys your services? And I'll get into detail about this in a moment. And then, would they think of you as an MSP, as a managed service provider? Now, ideally, whatever you call yourself, you want people to be able to find you for that term, right? I mean, if you're calling yourself an MSP and that's what people think of you as, that's what's on your website and your other marketing material. Let's do this. Let's take a closer look at what the actual searches are for the data here. So the very data-driven answer I'm about to give you. It's the number of searches that people do each month on Google. This is extracted from tools like Google's Keyword Planner and SEMrush. These are tools that are used for SEO analysis. So the term managed services, 3,600 searches being done a month. Managed service provider, 1,600 searches a month. The thing is, this includes all kinds of managed services, not just IT. It could be managed healthcare services, for example. So to get more specific to the type of services that you provide, let's put in the term IT. Well, that changes the number of searches quite a bit. We go for the term managed IT services to 1,100, and then if you go to managed IT support, because a lot of people may be looking for support too, you're looking at just 110 searches being done in a month. But again, those are focused to IT. So let's do this. Let's drop the word managed from this research here. Look at what happens to the search volume. When you combine just these two terms, IT support and IT services, that is a whopping 8,000 searches being done on just those two terms alone. That is 60% more than if you included the term managed. And this is specific to IT. So let's take it one step further. Look at these additional terms. I'm only adding 3 terms here, not even adding other stuff like security and things like that. Just add the words computer consultant, IT consultant, computer support. Just those alone add another 5,000 searches being done on Google. That's 13,000 searches just for these 5 terms. So if you consistently add in pages on your website that talk about these terms, you can increase the potential that someone's finding you just by doing a web search. Think about it. Just a few simple tweaks on your site, and you've got the potential to reach triple the number of people doing web searches each month compared to calling yourself a managed service provider. In a few minutes, I'll show you how to convert a web visitor into a qualified lead rather than just having them take a quick glance at your site and then leaving. It's actually a very simple technique, but you've got to execute it properly, so I'll show you that in a moment. So getting back to your buyer persona, what kind of information do you need to put into it, into your ideal client profile? So there's going to be a bit of information on this slide. I'm going to go through each one one by one right now. So what you want to know is, what is your typical organization size that you go after? Is it a small company, under 10 employees, or is it bigger, 25, 100 seats? Think about exactly what that size is. And then look at who's actually hiring you. What's their job title? What's their role within the organization? Who's got the budget authority? Because sometimes the person that actually hires you isn't the one that writes the check. It could be the CFO that writes the check. You want to know what problems they're actually facing and how your solution does one of 3 things or all 3 things. Save them time, money, and relieves headaches. Those are the only 3 reasons someone's going to hire you: saving time, saving money, relieving headaches. Figure out the roles of your influencers. It could be internal IT departments. It could be outside influencers like accountants or lawyers that are advisors to that company. What are their buying cycles? If you target, for example, government agencies are on a different fiscal year, not usually a calendar year, so they have different budgeting cycles. So figure out when those are. And then take a look at the professional associations that they're part of, the conferences they attend, and the publications they read. Knowing all this is going to be an immense help in refining your pitch. You're going to know what affects a buyer's thinking. The most successful companies actually do this exercise every year to keep an eye out for changes in buyer profiles. So here's your first task. And you can do this now. You don't have to wait till the beginning of 2017. I'd actually recommend doing this now as part of your planning process. Set aside 1 hour, maybe 2 hours, either this week or next week. Pick your top 5 clients and call them. Here's what you say. Hi, John. This is Raj from ABC IT Solutions. We're taking a quick survey of our customers, and I was wondering if you had 3 minutes to spare. I've got some really simple questions. And then ask these questions. When you selected us for IT services, who else in your company was involved in the decision process? What factors were important in your evaluation? Why did you pick us over others? Where did you find out about us? This is pretty important, because if you know where they found out about you or how they found out about you, you can use that as market research to go find other people too that are like them. I'll go into that in a second too. What associations do you belong to? And what conferences do you never miss? Now take detailed notes. You might have some other questions to round out your client profile. Once you know this information, you've effectively built a roadmap on how to find more clients just like them. These are your top clients for a reason. They don't give you headaches. They're easy to work with. They pay their bills on time. And you've just figured out, with these few questions, what makes them tick and where to find more people that are just like them. Now, after you've finished asking those questions while you're still on the phone, say this. Thanks so much. I really appreciate your input. We're doing some internal market research, and this information is very helpful. And then ask them this question. Just curious, would you know any other companies that could benefit from our IT services? It's a referral request question. Remember, you're not calling them up just to ask for a referral, but you can really use the data you collected. And, since you got them on the phone, hey, why not ask? So sometimes their first reaction might be no, they don't know anybody, so give them ideas. Maybe somebody in the association that they just mentioned. Maybe a lawyer, maybe an accountant. If you have at least 5 or 10 conversations like this with existing clients by, say, next Friday, I'm going to bet that you're most likely going to turn up at least 1 new qualified lead. It's going to take about an hour, maybe 2 hours, but you're going to get excellent data on your market. And again, you probably turn up a brand new lead from that. Now, once you've profiled your ideal client, you can start to unravel this mystery of finding other good clients just like them. So what you want to do is go where your clients hang out. Could be association meetings, chamber of commerce events, industry conferences, seminars, workshops, golf outings, fundraisers. Pick 2 events that you want to go to and get them on your calendar. So now be very deliberate about picking events that you're going to attend. Call an association that your clients belong to. Ask how many people show up at some of the events that you've identified. Ask who shows up. What you're looking for are job titles and roles. See if they match your ideal client profile. If not, go on to the next one. Doing this exercise is going to dramatically increase your chances of getting in front of the right people and not wasting your time with the wrong people. So when you find an organization, get active. Don't just pay the dues. That's a waste of money. Your dues really should be seen as your admission ticket to start a conversation with their members. So you need to go there and show up and hang out. Now, again, be very selective on how you spend your networking time. If your prospects are not hanging out at your local chamber, stop going there. Len mentioned when he and I were talking a little while ago that he focused on the construction industry when he was building his managed services practice, and his prospects hung out at golf outings and fundraisers. That's where he needed to be to meet potential clients. So go where your clients hang out. Now, when you network at meetings, don't sell. If you're doing all the talking, that means you're not listening. Has a client ever told you that they hired you because you talked a lot? No. They hired you because you listened. So when you're mingling with people at a networking event, look for common bonds. Use what I call relationship building questions. Okay? Relationship building questions are not sales questions. They're things like, do you live around here? Did you grow up here too? Now, if they didn't grow up here, you can ask a follow-up like, oh, what made you move here? When you start to get comfortable with them, then you can start asking for things about their business. But beforehand, you want to really build the relationship. You want to see if there's common bonds. Maybe your kids go to the same school. Maybe you both played sports in college. Maybe you both served in the military. There's lots of things you can do to actually start building that relationship before you even get into the business conversations. So then you can ask them, how's business? What's the biggest business problem you're facing today? So don't go diving into selling your technical services or trying to figure out what kind of technical issues do you have or who handles your IT or what kind of security issues. That's kind of just diving a little too quickly in. You want to find out what's on their mind. You don't want to come across like a pushy salesperson. Now, if they say something that's completely unrelated to IT and you happen to know somebody in your contact list back at the office that might be able to help, say something like this. Say, hey, I might know someone who can help you with that. Would you have a business card? I can introduce the two of you to see if it's a fit. So when you do this, you're looking out for their best interest. Even if they don't have an IT need that you can solve right now, at least not right away, you're building a connection. Now, leverage these connections to build your prospect list. I talk to business people all the time who've got a stack of cards, and they collected that over the years. You know, maybe you've even got something like that hanging out at your in a desk drawer somewhere, collecting dust. Some companies actually hire new sales reps, and those sales reps they actually build out databases based on people that they network with. Now, if they're not ready to buy IT services yet, what happens? Sadly, most people just kind of lose touch, you know. But there's an easy solution to this. It just requires a little bit of post-meeting discipline. Maybe if you've got an assistant, they can help you with this. It's really important to stay in touch because even though they may not be sales ready right now, with a little nurturing, you can get them to become sales ready just by staying in touch. When you do that, you're going to be the one that they think of when there's an IT crisis or when they eventually kind of look at all the touch points you've created for them and see maybe you're the better IT expert than the company that they're using now. You'd be shocked at how many times you can close a deal from someone that you met maybe 2 years ago just by staying in touch with them. Add them to your CRM tool. Add them to Autotask. Connect with them on LinkedIn. Put them on your email list. and then follow up with something useful, not sales pitches. Now, a quick note about LinkedIn. Many of us have LinkedIn accounts. You can actually export all of the email addresses of your contacts from LinkedIn directly. And you don't need one of their paid versions to do this. You can go to the export option by clicking on connections in LinkedIn, and then there's a little gear box, and that'll just take you to the steps that'll allow you to export the LinkedIn connections that you've got. Don't go sending email to everybody that you're connected with on LinkedIn, though. That wouldn't make any sense because maybe you've got personal connections on there and other connections that are not really relevant as potential clients. So be sure you filter those out before you put people on a prospect list. So now that I've shown you how and where to find prospects, we need to pitch them your services. An extremely effective way to do this is to invite them to attend a seminar on a trending IT topic like ransomware. It's a really big topic these days. Seminars give you the opportunity to demonstrate your expertise. Now remember that ideal client profile that we talked about. This is the one that you're going to work on this week or next week, right? Don't just use it to identify places to go and network. Use it to figure out where you can present a seminar on things like how ransomware can destroy your law practice and how to protect yourself. If your target is lawyers, that's a pretty compelling event to attend. And then you can change the word lawyers to accountants and so on. Your topic's going to be pretty similar for each group that you target, and they're going to appreciate that you're focusing just on their type of business. It allows you to repurpose your seminar for new audiences. And by the way, it doesn't have to be a seminar for an association. You can actually host a lunch and learn to your contacts, maybe at a local restaurant. So just get a round table. It could seat 8, 6, 10 people. And then you can have a pretty intimate discussion. In fact, our tool, Mailer and Prestacular, both of them have a zip code radius targeting feature. So if you happen to live in a major metropolitan area, you might have people that are completely across town that takes you half an hour, 45 minutes to drive to. They're unlikely going to show up at a lunch and learn that you host close to your office. So what you can do is go to a local restaurant that's nearby, and in Prestacular or Mailer, type in the zip code and say, I want to target everybody within a 5 or 10 mile radius of that zip code for that restaurant, and then reach only them. That way you can invite people who are just in that general area. Very nice way to focus your marketing. Now, creating a seminar is actually pretty straightforward. Sounds like it might be a lot of work. It's actually not. You're doing this kind of work anyway. You just might not realize it. Now, if you use a tool like Prestacular, we actually give you the slide decks so you can start immediately. But if you wanted to produce one on your own, sit down as if you're going to educate a client in person. What would you say? How would you present it? Which topics go first? What do they need to know? Be open. Be very forthcoming. What you want to do is give away your knowledge. Then write a description of what they're going to learn. A few bullet points is fine. And then maybe a catchy title, and that'll help draw people in, especially use topics like ransomware or phishing, something that's very topical these days. And then practice it. Once you've done that, you're actually ready to market your seminar to the associations or the individuals that are on your radar for lunch and learns. So here's an example of a timely webinar that you can do on ransomware. Talk about what ransomware is, examples of companies paying ransom. There's plenty of those out there. Talk about how to protect your business, and then how to recover without paying a ransom. This is where tools like Autotask Endpoint Management, Autotask Endpoint Backup, Autotask Workplace, things like that can really help you protect your clients and prospects. So what you're doing here is you've got solutions that you want to implement, and you've created a scenario, a story where people can see themselves in real life, and then you can start talking about your products and services that you're selling as solutions. If you pitch the idea of this webinar to a handful of local associations, maybe 10 associations, several people are going to invite you to speak. Now, when that happens, I guarantee that you're going to get in front of qualified prospects. And you can offer a guide or a white paper. Use that as a bonus, as a giveaway to people who are interested. That's going to work a lot better than giving away a brochure. So when you follow up with attendees, you'll very likely close business pretty quickly. And by the way, we've got a suite of marketing tools for IT companies, and one of our packages actually includes all of this material. It's a professionally written white paper, a guide, a PowerPoint slide deck that you can edit. It's even got a script that you can use to reach out and book yourself as a speaker. It's a ransomware protection marketing kit. Right out of the box, a lot cheaper than actually writing all this stuff yourself or hiring a marketing person to make it for you. Now, as you get deeper into your 2017 marketing activities, you're going to want to revisit your marketing material to make sure that it's educational and not strictly sales. There's a place for both. Just keep in mind that people tune out when they start to see too many sales pitches. So think about how you buy professional services, or how you buy anything for that matter. I mean, when you go buy a car, you don't say, hey, wow, that brochure was awesome, I'm going to buy that car. So when you think about how you make buying decisions, chances are that you do things like reading checklists, looking at white papers, looking at e-books, things like that. Your prospects really are no different. They don't buy off of sales pitches. So if you've got a 4-color glossy corporate brochure, you spent a lot of money printing it, unfortunately, I hate to break the news to you, it's probably going to end up in the trash. So instead, spend your printing money on something like custom presentation folders, and then you can use that to put in educational pieces. That's what's going to get passed around to people. Now, your marketing material also includes your websites. I talk to a lot of MSPs. Probably 80 or 90% of them are unhappy with their website. Maybe that describes you too. Many companies think that redesigning it to look nice is going to make a big difference. I want you to think about this for a moment. When's the last time you went to a website, any website, and you said to yourself, this website is so attractive that I've got to buy services from this company? You probably never did that, right? Now, on the other hand, think of this question. If you go to a website, when's the last time you went to a site and you said, hey, this website really explains what I should be thinking about and why I should probably contact them? My hunch is that you might have done that a couple of times in the last month alone. That's what you want your website to do for you. So the way you do it is put in information that doesn't sell, but it kind of does a soft sell. Here's an example of a handful of things you can put on your site. Talk about things like why, what files people should be backing up, how to check your apps for known security holes. So think about this topic for a moment. If you're using Autotask Endpoint Management, you can follow up with people to make sure that their patches are managed appropriately. But if you're a non-technical person and you try to get pitched on patch management, you're going to get confused. They're not going to know what you're talking about. I mean, they might have an idea, but if you say something to them like, here's how you can check, or we can check your apps for known security holes. Wow, that's something they understand. They can get their head around that. It makes a lot of sense, a lot easier to work on. So that's how you can use your tools that you're selling, but put them in a context that people really understand. So those, again, are some examples of what people can use to actually write. Now, email newsletters actually are the ultimate keep-in-touch tool. They blow away print media. There's research on this. It blows away print media, social media, just about any other form of direct response marketing. Now, it's not just me saying this. The Direct Marketing Association reports that the ROI for email is over $40 for every $1 you spend. That is huge. So if you're not taking advantage of this right now to promote your business, it's really something that you should consider. It's very fast, very easy, helps you get lots of analytics on your tools. So here's an example of an email newsletter that one of our clients sent out. They actually use Autotask as well. They inform people. They don't sell. They sent out a note on a Tuesday morning about end of support for one of the Microsoft products. This was XP a while ago. So they sent this note out on a Tuesday morning. By Friday, they had closed $25,000 in new business, and they had a big pipeline for the following week. So this stuff works. Successful newsletters have a formula to them. You have a good, strong opening, a good call to action, and then you include topics that are relevant for people, educational material, and then your contact information. Now, I'm going to give you an example of a good opening and call to action that you can use right now. Say this. Send an email to your contacts, whether your clients or your prospects. Say this. Say, hi, John. November is an ideal time to review your IT upgrades and security for 2017. Doing it now might also help you reduce your 2016 taxes. Would you have a few minutes next week for a quick check-in? So here, you're not really trying to sell them something. You're actually showing them, hey, if you make the investment in upgrading your infrastructure right now, that can help offset your taxes. And of course, recommend that they talk to their accountants about it, because you're not an accountant, or maybe you are, but give them that idea. Now, I wouldn't recommend sending your newsletter through Outlook, because you're not going to get any tracking details. So the beauty of using a newsletter tool is that you get very detailed metrics. You can find out who's clicking on the articles, which ones they're reading, and who's most likely ready for a sales call. So there's only so much time in the day. You want to spend that time efficiently. So let's tie it all together. We're going to get into the detailed actual checklist right now of things that you can do. Think about where you want to be in a year. We're going to start planning your strategy, and then we're going to get right into it. So now you've got all the elements in your marketing plan. Let's see here what we're going to do every quarter. So I've broken this down. Actually, I'm doing this by quarter, because for the time we've got in a webinar, won't be able to go through month by month. But I'm going to send a checklist to you that is a month-by-month checklist. You can just scratch it off every time you do something in a month and guide yourself through the entire marketing plan for 2017. So I've broken this down into planning items and activity items for each quarter. So the first thing to do is to make a plan. So you can copy the plan I'm going to give to you, but get a plan in order so you know what you're doing and you're not kind of doing everything haphazardly. Create that ideal profile, your buyer persona, and start putting things into your email tool or your CRM tool. Put them into Autotask, put them into Mailer, and identify organizations that your contacts belong to. And then the activity you're going to do is interview 5 or 10 clients on why they picked you. Ask them if they know anybody else who could use your IT services, and then start thinking about your website. If you wanted to redo your website, think about what kind of new design you might want and the kind of content you want. I'm going to show you a super fast way to get this done. You can knock it out in 1 hour, actually. I'll show you that in a second here. Attend your networking events. I'd recommend 1 or 2 each month. When I was really doing a lot of networking a while ago, and the truth be told, that was before I had kids, I must have been going to 3 a week. So I was a networking maniac. But then I had kids, and wow, that stopped. Many of you might be able to relate to that. But book something on your calendar. Get out there. And then start sending newsletters to your existing clients and to your prospects. Second quarter, create a presentation. The example I provided here was how to protect your business from being a ransomware victim. And then start thinking about the headlines you might want to use for your next set of newsletters, or acquire the content. And then the activity, because this is going to be pretty good. Springtime, there's going to be a lot of business activity available. Attend 4 events. Evaluate your speaking opportunities, not just for the current quarter, but also for the upcoming quarters, for the remainder part of the year. Share your newsletter articles on LinkedIn. You might already have LinkedIn connections. Just posting a status update every now and then does get people thinking about you. Look at your analytics to see who's interested in doing what, and start contacting those people. You can have all this information in front of you. You need to do something about it. As you get into quarter 3, this is mostly summertime. Opposite of that if you're, I guess, south of the equator, but in the U.S., in Europe, it's summertime, so do more planning here. Start developing your next seminar topic. Couple of other ideas: how to spot a phishing attack, or most commonly overlooked security mistakes that lawyers make, that accountants make, that medical practices make. Create guides and seminar topics. Identify awards that you want to apply for. There's a whole strategy behind getting awards to get people to know you and recognize that you've been stamped by a third party as being a really good company to work with. Take a look at trade shows or conferences you might want to go to. And then continue your touch point activity, sending them newsletters. Send a press release out. Start reaching out to associations where you can make presentations. And then as you close out that last quarter of next year, put a guide on your website. You can actually do this much sooner. When you put a guide on your website for people to download, that starts to give people an incentive for filling out your contact form. We all do this. You go to a website, you fill out a form that says, yeah, get our guide on this topic. Suddenly they've got a lead, you've got the guide, everybody's happy. Develop your next seminar. Call the newest clients you've gotten, because if you implement the plan I've talked about, you're going to have new clients by that time. And ask them the buyer persona questions as well. And continue on. You can see there's a rhythm to this. Once you start getting in that rhythm, it's really powerful. So If you want to do some print mail, you can use some of the guides, print them out, send them to warmest prospects, and start planning for next year. This is a really important point. It's a quote by Tony Robbins. If you talk about it, it's a dream. So if you're attending the webinar today, there's a lot of tools and tips I've shown you. If you just talk about doing it, it's still going to be a dream. But if you get it on your calendar, that's when it starts to become real. So get it on your calendar. Now, to help you out, as I've mentioned, attendees are going to get a free IT marketing plan template, a month-by-month checklist that you can edit, you can customize it for your business. Now, we're recording this webinar, so if you happen to be watching this on a recording, I'll put my email up here. You can also contact me. Just put in the subject line 2017 Roadmap Webinar, and I'll send you that template. Now, sometimes I'll talk with IT companies who are hesitant to start marketing because they don't feel their website's ready yet. They want well-written content for their site. They don't have the time or maybe the expertise to do it themselves. And maybe professional writers are too expensive. So if this is you, we've actually got a solution that you're going to love. You can use our new MSP website content kit to get 11 pre-written SEO-friendly pages of content to use instantly, plus a downloadable guide that's going to help you convert visitors into leads. This is really rich content. It's over 7,000 professionally crafted words that are ready to copy and paste. They're written by IT journalists and marketing experts. If you hired a writer on your own to produce this kind of material for you, you're looking at upwards of $3,000 or more. Each page is SEO friendly. So for example, we use things like the term cloud computing because it gets 4 times more searches on Google than the word cloud services. So we've incorporated SEO insights like this throughout this kit. It's going to save you thousands of hours, maybe not thousands, but lots of hours, tens, maybe even 100 hours of painstaking work using expensive SEO analysis tool. Now this kit usually sells for $299, but for the webinar, for a very limited time, you can see on the screen, you can get this for an investment of $99. Looks like the URL wrapped a little bit, but if you go to store.mailermailer.com right now, I'm going to give you a coupon code. The code is AT201611, AT201611. You'll see the price is $299 on our website, but if you enter that code, AT201611, you'll get it for $99. So if doing your website's on your list, it's on your radar, get this website kit. You can be done in about 20 or 30 minutes, and then you can check it off your to-do list. Now, if you're ready, got your website, you're happy with it, that's great. But if you want to take your marketing to the next level, maybe you're strapped for time, there's no easier way to do it than using something called Curated newsletters. It's actually a very affordable way to do marketing, a very good automation service too. It's a turnkey, done-for-you marketing automation solution for small IT companies. Here's how it works. Every month, we create and send an email newsletter that's got informative articles that are curated from the web. Now, our writers carefully draft all of the messaging, the opening, the teasers, the call to action. You don't have to learn professional design. Everything's turnkey. You're going to get a monthly marketing rhythm that will nurture all your leads and increase client retention. It'll boost referral business and attract new business too. It's month to month, no long-term contracts. You can sign up now, cancel anytime. Now, usually the biggest holdback in getting marketing going for your business is taking that first step. So we're offering a bonus of free setup plus 20% off the monthly subscription for Curated newsletters. This is valid only for people who sign up by November 14th, 2016. November 18th, 2016. That's next Friday. So visit curatednewsletters.com. That's on your screen to sign up. So if you've thought about marketing, you're short on time, resources, know-how, whatever the reason, take that step right now to make progress with your business. You can use our MSP marketing content kit to get your pages for your site, and then Curated newsletters to automate your marketing. It's going to do a big chunk of your 2017 marketing plan for a price point that nobody can match, especially if you sign up for it by November 18th. So that's what I've got for today. I'm sure we're going to have questions. We can handle those at the end. Thanks for joining me. We're going to take questions in a bit again. And so, Caroline, back to you.
Perfect. Thank you, Raj. Nice job. Really great content, and I really appreciate you sharing your planning process and your planning resources for all of those in the audience today. Definitely something that they can walk away with today and be able to jump right into that planning process. So nice job. Next, I would like to introduce Len DiCostanzo, our Senior Vice President of channel development, who I know many of you know already. He comes to us with more than 25 years of channel and industry experience, and he'll show you now how Autotask's unified platform can help support your efforts to drive leads and win new business as well. So with that, Len, I'll hand it to you.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Caroline. And again, thanks, Raj, for that great content on how to drive new business, drive new leads. It's pretty good content. And you know, you mentioned I had my own service provider practice for a couple of years, and without a doubt, I would have loved to have my hands on that content and on some of those tools. So, thanks for sharing your knowledge and doing some educational selling. So again, I'm Len DiCostanzo, and I'm just going to share how, you know, based on Raj's presentation, once you drive all those new leads, you're going to have to do something with them, and that is win new business and use all the solutions you have in your toolkit and begin to drive revenue. And it all starts here. I'll give you a couple of quick stats on what you can look for out there in the world. We do a survey every year called Metrics That Matter, and the #1 revenue driver response came back as endpoint management. So service providers, over 1,100 respondents said #1 revenue driver 2016 was going to be endpoint management. Certainly, as we end 2016, I've not heard anything different from what our partners are doing out there. The #1 client security concern is around endpoints. So not only #1 revenue driver, but also the #1 security concern. And 55% of the respondents said they expected to see significant growth in endpoints that they manage. And that's a good thing, because that must mean they're getting their fair share. Here you see Gartner has said 26 billion endpoints will be in use globally by 2020. So what does that really mean? It means that IT service providers or MSPs that deliver better endpoint management will thrive. And really a lot of Raj's messaging was around that, because ransomware attacks the endpoint and attacks the desktops, the laptops that users are managing. So as you're driving leads with those topics, you can actually get your fair share or increase your fair share of endpoints under management and drive revenue. And here is where Autotask Endpoint Management and Autotask PSA come into play, the only unified PSA and RMM that helps you become more efficient, reduce costs, and increase profitability. And again, it all starts with that new lead you're going to generate from your marketing plan. Right in that first critical stage, I like to talk about the 4 critical stages that you go through as a service provider to secure your client for life. And it all starts with that consultative stage. Once you get that lead in, and as Raj said, listening, and that's a great part of consulting, and that's about listening. And as you listen, you can now learn just about anything from your prospect. Folks like to talk, and as you listen, they'll always think that's a great conversation. You build an opportunity inside Autotask PSA where we help unify people, process, and data across your organization. And in that first stage, as you're tracking that opportunity, your sales pipeline, you're going to win some new business and move into a second critical stage, and that's you implement the solution that drew that prospect in the first place. So if you talked about ransomware, maybe you got to go in and execute a remediation engagement to clean that environment up so that you can then deliver your managed services, manage those endpoints, and of course perhaps back up those endpoints and provide a way to recover from ransomware. And here's where you're really setting yourself up for that third critical stage where you deliver your managed services and support, and that's of course includes some cloud offerings as well. But you have ascended now into that critical stage where you are the trusted advisor. That's that 4th critical stage. You're delivering your managed services, you're having some success, you're holding your monthly review meetings, your quarterly business meetings, and you're continuing to develop the relationship with that client over time. And then it all starts again next year. And all of this is enabled by Autotask PSA, where all that mission critical data you gather, starting with that lead that just came in, and you now close that deal, execute the project, deliver your managed service, and if you've met them monthly and or quarterly, and now you propose next year's technology budget and keep on going. And really that's those 4 critical stages to secure your client for life. And there are over 140 integrations with Autotask. In fact, Raj's solution does have an integration with Autotask where you can pull in all of your contacts from Autotask into Raj's platform and begin to communicate out with them with the various pieces of content Raj shared with you. And now here, as you're comfortable running your business with Autotask PSA, it is all about those endpoints, and that's where Autotask Endpoint Management comes into play. Certainly you can get this solution all by itself and work with it and deliver your managed services. Start with that audit to discover what's out there in your prospect environment, and then begin to deliver managed services. A lot of monitoring and self-healing capability built in the solution, tightly woven into our service desk. You can then manage those alerts that stream into your Autotask ticketing system and begin to produce reports. A continuous cycle of delivering your managed services, continually improving your management of those endpoints. And this solution, Autotask Endpoint Management, is not integrated with Autotask PSA. It is, in fact, our PSA. Here you see a single pane of glass enabled by the Autotask Unified Platform, where our PSA and Endpoint Management solutions tightly woven together give you the opportunity to produce customized dashboards across different roles in your organization, different areas of business. In fact, here we're looking at perhaps an owner or executive dashboard where you could see all the time and expense that you've put into Autotask against projects or tickets, or perhaps your recurring invoices for managed services, and see what kind of revenue has been invoiced out to your client base. Here you can look at your most profitable accounts, and there are those opportunities that you've generated from your marketing plan, and seeing, of course, all the opportunity you have out there. And then more importantly, you could weave in some of that endpoint data, looking at how many devices you're managing. It's a really nice number, and of course you want to get more of that, and that's part of why you're going to market to your end clients. Here you see another nice opportunity to drive revenue. Devices under awaiting contract review, meaning they've been added to your end client infrastructure, and now potentially you could be supporting devices not under contract. But with our unified platform, Endpoint Management and PSA together, not only can you see those devices, but you can actually attach them right to a contract and begin to invoice for those devices as well. So that single pane of glass, again, extends across the organization by role or by area of business. Raj is talking about generating leads with your marketing plan, and right here, if you're a sales manager or you're just a sales rep looking at your own business, you could see opportunities coming in this month. Take a look at your funnel, the various stages that your opportunities are flowing through right now, and how many are at the bottom waiting to be closed. And then, of course, opportunities that are going to close this month. And if you have a lot of sales reps under management, you could see how each of them are doing. So as you're driving those leads, you really need a fantastic solution to manage those leads. And more importantly, you want the leads to be tracked in a system like Autotask PSA that gets you from that first critical stage of consultative selling into winning and managing that new business under project. So right here, a great way to look at all those leads you're generating and what you're going to do with them. And the unified platform, then, once you have those clients out there and you're monitoring and managing them with your managed services, you can continue to find opportunity in your client base by setting up some widgets on those dashboards. These widgets, over 50 widgets, come pre-configured with Autotask, and then you can customize them and, of course, create your own. But with these widgets, you see, again, opportunities to upsell into your existing accounts. And maybe that's another great piece of content in your newsletter, talking about expiring warranties, perhaps old operating systems like Windows XP out there, maybe a broad communication. And here you get that really specific knowledge about what's going on out in your client base, and then you can go talk about it, of course, during your monthly or quarterly meetings. So the unified platform, Autotask PSA and Endpoint Management together give you that more efficient way to run your business. You run your business from those unified dashboards, and of course execute your role better or run your department better, because we will help you automate and optimize your existing business processes, and as a result, reducing overhead takes cost out of your business model and drives profitability. In fact, we've seen 1 billable hour per day more efficiency on average across our partner base. and you can visit our website. There's a great report out there that shares how you actually get more efficient with Autotask and Endpoint Management, our unified platform. And it really starts with the fact that techs can do most of what they need to do from Autotask PSA's ticket. Not only can you see what's going on, link down into a device, but you can actually go and take remote control of the device. And more importantly, a lot of scripting and capability to self-heal those incidents and, in fact, respond quicker when needed, because once those alerts come into Autotask, a lot of automation built in to ticket workflow, pushing that ticket out to the right tech, to the manager if your SLA is not going to be met or if it's close to not being met. And again, we talked a little bit about discovery of devices and being brought into Autotask PSA to be put under a contract. Never service a device that's not under contract again. So a lot of efficiency gained from the unified platform where we put Autotask PSA and Endpoint Management together just to make it real easy and efficient for you to run your business. And we really don't stop there. We like to talk about opportunity from beginning to endpoint, because once you have your business up and running, you're delivering those managed services, you want to get out there and generate more revenue. So you need to continually evolve your service catalog. Perhaps you're out there already backing up your client's data, but if you're an Autotask PSA Endpoint Management customer user, you want to take a look at Autotask Endpoint Backup. It's the #1 way that you can prepare all of your clients for getting out of ransomware. We've seen it many times already. You can take Autotask Endpoint Backup, and it's really we have decommoditized a commodity offering. While you may already have a file-based backup, if you're using Autotask PSA and AAM, there's a really fantastic opportunity to reduce costs because of our automated deployment, remote setup that really just makes it easier for you to back up your endpoints. And you might say, why do I need to back up an endpoint? I have everybody putting data on the server. Well, we all know that not everyone listens to that. You got mobile employees, remote employees. They really don't like using a VPN. They really don't like using FTP. It's very difficult as you travel to gain access to your data. So they're putting information on their local drive, in their My Documents folder, in their desktop folder. And you know what? You might not be aware of that, and then one day that laptop or that device goes down, and very critical data can be lost. We've seen it a lot at the C-level, and it's really important to back up your endpoint. So, you can either sell it into your existing client base and go deeper and wider, make it a newsletter article, talk about some of those key points I just mentioned, or go on out there and use it as a thin wedge in your newsletter to prospects where they now can reach out to you just about endpoint backup, but that kind of opens up the kimono for you to go on in and sell more of your offerings. But use Autotask Endpoint Backup as that thin wedge to get on in and win some new business, perhaps that end client prospect that followed your newsletter and came in to see what you had to offer. Maybe they already have an existing contract with someone else. Use Autotask Endpoint Backup as you talk up the endpoint issues around security and not having that data backed up. Win that business, and then you're prepared to take that next step. And of course, backing up data certainly is a great opportunity for you out there. Maybe there's that next step of providing a file sync and share solution, because those mobile people, those remote people that are storing information locally, maybe they really should have that data on the server, but it is of course prohibitive via VPN. And then even for me, as I travel through airports and hotels, VPNs don't typically work. But with Autotask Workplace, our enterprise-grade file sync and share solution, you can take data on those endpoints, those mobile laptops and mobile devices, and actually make your own device be a server by taking that information on your local drive, syncing it up into the cloud, and then sharing it out to those folks that you want to work with, that you want to collaborate with. So it's basically the next step up from just backing up your data and making sure those endpoints are backed up. But if you're out mobile and moving around and you're keeping data locally, there's a reason for it, and it's usually, again, because you're mobile and other solutions just aren't robust enough and simple enough for your average resource or employee to work with. So take a look at Autotask Workplace. Again, our enterprise-grade file sync and share solution that really gives your clients an opportunity to, A, put their data up in the cloud so it's a ready-made backup, and in fact then access it from any device, any mobile device, their iPad, their Android, obviously their mobile phone, and be able to access that data and do stuff with it, built-in editing on those mobile devices, sharing out links from wherever you are. I've used it hundreds of times already. It's a fantastic solution. More importantly, it's 100% channel only. So as you're working with this solution, there may be some competitors out there, some consumer-grade type solutions, some free solutions that your clients are already downloading. Walk on in there, be that trusted advisor, talk about Autotask Workplace. We give you everything you need in the AWP Partner Playbook and a bunch of tools that include email marketing scripts, some of the great kind of information that Raj shared built right into our toolkit to help you get out there and drive leads for Autotask Workplace. So again, it's not just us really talking about it. We have over 70,000 users out there, over 9,000 MSPs and service providers using our solution every day. And here we see Richard Thompson over at Central deployed 4,000 endpoints with Autotask Endpoint Management combined with Autotask PSA in a single day, and basically was up and running, managing those endpoints, generating recurring revenue pretty quickly. Here, Mika Thor from Tech Guru is talking about how our unified platform is going to save his technicians more than 20 hours a month while it's helping to improve his customer experience, and of course that would increase retention and give him a profitable growth. Again, it's all about automation, automating processes, taking cost out of your business model, and that's where Autotask likes to fit and help you guys run your business better. We are simple, scalable, and 100% delivered from the cloud. No fat client. We were born in the cloud, so we know we have to be there for you when you need us, and that's why we've got 4 nines uptime over 7 of our last 8 years and pretty close in that 8th year, and we warrant 3 nines uptime in our agreement, and you can compare that to our competition where there is no warranty for uptime. We want your business, and we want to help you grow your business and, again, be there when you need to be. So it's time to unify with the Autotask Unified Platform. Call your account manager to ask about some of those other products if you're already a customer. We do have a survey at the end. You can let us know what you're looking at and how we can help you grow your business, or just visit our website at autotask.com. And again, peruse the website and see we've got a lot of great content. Again, just like Raj is telling you, we've got some wonderful ebooks and white papers that you could download, and of course, and we'll follow up and get to know you. So again, congratulations for sitting in today and learning how to grow your business, and look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks, Caroline.
Excellent. Thank you, Len. Great content, and appreciate you sharing with everyone how Autotask solutions can help everyone who's using Autotask work more efficiently, better support their business planning efforts, and really support that lead gen activity that Raj talked about earlier. So great, great content. Thank you so much. We are running right here tight at the end of the hour, so for those of you that would like to stay on just an extra couple of minutes, we do have about 4 to 5 questions in the queue that I would like to still get to. So if that's okay, we'll move to Q&A real quickly here. So with that, the first question I have here is for Raj. How frequently should you send an email newsletter to clients and prospects?
Oh, good question, Caroline. So we recommend 1 time a month should be your minimum. If you want to send it more frequently, that's fine. Don't bombard people like every couple of days. I've seen some people send like 8 or 9 emails in a month. That's way too much, in my opinion, anyway. So we find that once a month is good because that allows you to really get it out, and at the same time, it's not so overwhelming for your recipients, so they don't unsubscribe. They kind of get used to getting the material from you, and it's important to send material that's relevant to them. You want to put it in their context. If all you send is sales pitches, sales material, you got a special on this, or look at our product on that, people will tune out, and they're going to unsubscribe, and you're going to completely lose the opportunity to nurture them and sell them long term. On the other hand, if you send them a monthly newsletter that has something like, hey, did you hear about this vicious new ransomware that's encrypting your files and then deleting your data anyway? If you'd like, we can do a quick system check to make sure you're safe. Something like that. That's really good. There's a great opportunity. I call it, the term is newsjacking opportunities. When you got something going on in the news, you can talk about it. So just mid-October, Google reported that they found a security hole. They reported it to Adobe and to Microsoft. Adobe patched it up, but then as per Google's terms, they actually made public that they released this information to Microsoft, who had not yet actually posted a patch until 2 days ago, November 8th, on their Patch Tuesday. So that was news last week that we actually sent a blast out to all of our contacts to say, hey, look at the material that you can send here, send this quick note out to people, and folks started doing that. So that might have been something in addition to a monthly newsletter. So you really kind of watch what's going on, and actually customers of our service actually get all this stuff done for them automatically. So it really saves a huge amount of time. So yeah, but thanks for that question.
Excellent, thank you. I have two now pertaining to your MSP website content kit. The first is I have someone in the audience who's asking specifically whether or not the kit would be localized in Dutch. They have customers that are both Dutch speaking and reading.
So the kit is in English. It's very well written in English with a lot of material. So I'll give you an example. The page that we have on computer security, we actually, I think it's like maybe 1,300 words long. It is a deep page. It talks about security things people should be thinking about. It won't be localized to your language. There's so many languages, we don't have localized versions of it. But it sounds like you may be bilingual, and it might not be that big a leap for you to take that material and then convert it into Dutch. Or if you're listening and need to convert it into Spanish or other languages, it's fairly easy to do. The big beauty of that is then it's kind of written in your own words too, and it's very, very customized. Very unique content for you. You're going to have so much rich material that literally if you hired someone to do this, it would cost thousands of dollars. So even if you paid someone to translate it for you, that's going to be a tiny fraction of what you would have to pay to an experienced IT marketing professional to write that content. It's pretty rich. We spent a long time on it. I was involved in writing a lot of it. It's pretty good stuff. So anyway, yeah.
Excellent. So now I have someone who said specifically, I'm looking to redo my website, but have been putting it off due to time and cost. What pages are included in your content kit?
Okay, so yes, the examples, here's where you go. If you go to this website, go to store.mailermailer, all one word, .com. So store.mailermailer.com. Let me see if I can push that out to the group here on the chat. Caroline, doesn't look like a,
yep.
Yeah, okay, just go to store. All right, go to store.mailermailer.com, and then so that's actually got the table of contents listed there. So we've got content for your home page, for a page that talks about what to expect from us. So it's kind of like a warm and fuzzy page that helps people get comfortable with why they should hire you. Then we've got information on data backup, on security, on all kinds of different topics. So there's 10 pages. On top of that, we actually include a guide that is a downloadable guide. You can put your logo on it, whatever you want to do. Save it as a PDF and post that on your website. So when people visit your website, instead of just seeing the word contact us, they'll actually see something that says, download our guide on the IT checkup checklist. Do a quick self-assessment yourself, and then reach out to us. So you can put whatever you want as the top, lead or text, and we actually have recommendations on that. But that gives you a guide to convert visitors into actual leads. So that way people won't always bounce off your site, just visit and then take off. This gives them a reason to fill out that contact form. So yeah, just to put that in context, think about yourself going to someone else's website. They have material. Oftentimes you'll see a little form, fill it out, and then you get their guide. That's what this kit can do for you. It'll have the material, it'll have the guide, so you can turn your website into a lead generating machine.
Perfect, and that's a great segue into this next question. I've had several people just ask to repeat the promotional code again for that kit.
Yeah.
I did let them know that we'll be putting it in the post-webinar email, but for those that are still on, I can share it with everyone via chat if you want to repeat it.
Yeah, so the code, so it's normally $299 for the kit. We're giving $200 off just for attendees till next Friday. I'd recommend just getting it done. You can knock it out over the weekend. The code is AT, so Autotask, AT 2016-11. So we just used Autotask, the year and the month. So AT 2016-11. And that code will automatically expire on, so.
sending that out right now. And then one
Okay.
last question, Len, for you. I'm hoping you can comment on this one. We had someone ask when endpoint backup will back up files longer than 6 months. Ideally, they were saying up to a year would be great, but just curious if you have any comments on that.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt that it's on the roadmap. There's no date yet for it, but we are considering I guess, a length of time, kind of an option where you can click and select how long you want data to be saved. However, it is definitely not on the roadmap. It is an elevated priority, and I did chat with Moshe, our product manager for the solution, and it's definitely there, and we're definitely thinking about it. We just can't give you anything just yet. So stay tuned. I'm sure we'll have an AEB product roadmap webinar out there soon. If you're a customer, stay tuned, or a prospect, stay tuned for that.
Okay, perfect. Raj, one last question came in. I'm hoping people just hang on just for another minute or two. If every company that uses your kit has the same text on their website, won't that decrease the effectiveness?
That's a great question. That is a great question. So the nice thing about the content is it is in Word format. So as part of every page, we actually include recommendations on tweaks that you can make. So for example, a client testimonial. Nobody else is going to have the same client testimonial that you have. A quick 2-line, 3-line description of a project you did for maybe data backup or something related to security. Nobody else is going to have that. So suddenly you're able to now take content that was written, and instead of just posting it up, with a few tweaks, you can actually make it be just what you want it to be for your business. So you really have to look at it from this perspective. Do you want to invest all the money to have custom-written content, which is fantastic? I mean, that's the gold standard, right? But that's very expensive, and most small IT firms find that that's a bit of a challenge. So if, on the other hand, you're able to take content that was written, that's already SEO friendly, but you made some tweaks to it. And we even provide suggestions on which images to use on the page, and a link to several places where you can get free stock images, so you don't need to have any more cash outlay for the images. It is really a complete kit to get your website up and running. You'll literally be done in an afternoon. And then, again, you can make changes whenever you feel like it. So you don't have to do all the changes right away. Maybe do 1 page a week, that kind of thing. It'll work. Also, I noticed somebody said they tried the code and it didn't work. It has to be uppercase. So I don't know why the tool we use is called Cells, and it just has it's not case sensitive. It is case sensitive. So just use capital AT when you type that in.
Perfect. They did reply and said it's working now. So
okay,
excellent.
great.
Perfect.
Great.
Thank you for that, Raj. So I think that covers all of our questions. Again, we like to congratulate people for taking time out of their day to join us for these webinars. We do realize everyone's busy, so thank you so much. A special thank you to Raj Kira for both sponsoring and presenting today, and of course Len DiCostanzo from Autotask for taking time to share his knowledge on the unified platform and how we can help drive new business for all of you. So thank you so much again, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.